lives and goals. This makes Hunter x Hunter a show not about heroes and villains, but about people. Lots and lots of different people, each struggling to find their own place in the world and to find their own reasons for being there.
Kurapika's entire reason was villains. They got my people. The Phantom Troop, villains. His entire reasoning.
When a death occurs on either side, there's a real tangible feeling of loss.
No, Kite died and I didn't give a shit.
Not at all.
I legit. That dude that drowned against Smoke Dude, I ain't give a shit about him.
And nobody else did. Nobody went, oh no, Lion Dude. He had two compatriots, a girl and another one. And they're just like, oh well, do we ever see them mourn or anything? No.
Real tangible feeling of loss, and oftentimes the line between hero and villain becomes impossible to distinguish.
No, it doesn't. It's in this one instance. This dude acts like a villain. But every other time, you know who the hero is. You know who the villain is. You know who's doing the bad stuff and the good stuff. They're not blurred. They're not wavy. They're straight. It's a straight line separating the two.
And in doing this, Hunter x Hunter manages to offset what is essentially the major core principle of shonen anime. The belief that bad guys are bad and good guys exist to punish them. No one within the series...
What?
That's what happened.
What?
What bad guy in Hunter x Hunter existed not to just be a bad guy to be punished? Phantom Troop? Nope.
Kill his family? Nope. Bomb Dude? Nope. Ants?
Nope. And we're done.
Hisoka's whole motivation is get strong enough so that it's worth me killing you. That's his whole motivation. Go back to... Hey, how about I mention Fairy Tail for a hot second? The second, third arc, the Ice Dude, he was like, I want to resurrect this villain that my master couldn't kill so that I could kill them and thus surpass them. Nothing to do with our heroes. Nothing to do with ruling the world or anything. It was a personal goal. But we're not talking about that because Hunter x Hunter is so different. This is Fairy Tail. I'm so sick of this. It's different when it's not. Part 5 ain't different. This ain't different.
What a terrible ratio.
This is the worst ratio.
We are 18 minutes in and it's roughly 2 hours. What a terrible ratio.
and evil, and certainly no one is 100% good.
Hisoka is absolutely 100% evil. The king was 100% evil.
Before that.
No. Even after. Because he walked up to the dude that runs the main old dude, and he goes, we're going to farm humans and eat them like cattle. My plan of controlling all those humans you saw still happens. I'm still turning them into chimera ants. But instead of just wiping y'all all out, we'll give y'all a little continent and we'll eat y'all as we please.
You're right. But then that's not 100% evil.
How not?
He's allowing... He could do it... It's not. I would like to see somebody in the comments make that argument because I am not equipped to.
Because there's no argument to be made. He's evil.
A story about people who simply view the world very differently, and all the chaos and pain that ensues because of that. But before I start getting all philosophical and such, let's take a look at some of the other ways that Hunter x Hunter sets itself apart from other shonen anime. And that is through its story structure. I promise this is going to be more exciting than it sounds. Now, I'd like to take a minute and bear with me here to talk about how Hunter x Hunter structures its arcs. For those not familiar with the concept, an arc is generally how an anime is broken down in terms of major plot
That
events.
intro is
flame. It's really, really
flame, and nobody else moving except one person.
It's really, the dark like shadows on them. This is I really, really like
this intro. The visuals is fire, flames, fire.
Bad. So many of them amount to almost nothing, and one of them breaks the entire Chimera ant arc.
How
Darn
Hunter x
shame
Hunter
that.
structures its arcs. For those not familiar with the concept, an arc is generally how an anime is broken down in terms of major plot events. For example, if we break down Dragon Ball Z into its 4 major arcs, they would be the Saiyan arc,
Saga.
He was younger. He was a young guy.
This was 2011.
He was younger.
We knew what sagas were in 2006.
It's fine.
the Frieza arc, the Cell arc, and the Majin Buu arc. Now you
Saga.
could take any of these and break them down further into 3 sub-arcs. The Peaceful Beginning, the mid
you're creating a thing when there's another thing that is actually called,
and the final showdown. The Peaceful Beginning.
Those are acts.
It's fine.
Those aren't sub-arcs. They're
fine.
acts. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
The Peaceful Beginning, where we see our characters relaxing and usually maybe discussing prior events in the show. And then somewhere within the world of the show, a new danger begins to show itself. The mid-card is usually the longest sub-arc, taking up approximately the second and third quarter of the overall arc, and involves our heroes discovering the new threat, sometimes engaging in a period of training, and finally we see the lower tier characters of the show battle in order to clear the way for the final sub-arc, the main event showdown. This is where our protagonists overcome impossible odds and defeat whatever threat has emerged in the first place. If you want to see this formula boiled down into a sweet science, then I'd highly recommend checking out Hajime no Ippo, in which the structure is honed down into 3 or 4 episode arcs and masterfully rinsed and repeated in a way that always stays fresh and unpredictable.
Ippo got very boring for a while. It wasn't always fresh
and interesting.
Right around the time he fought Wally, bruh, that fight was ridiculous. Wally should have won that fight.
I agree.
What a douche.
I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody knows. Somebody's just like, yeah, I agree. Or
essentially, it was this boxer that would hop off the ropes and punch people. So he would put his whole back into it and then go and punch. And he was bouncing all around the ring. Ippo could not touch this man. Ippo had been down like twice, and he touched him maybe once. I mean, Ippo should have lost definitively. And then some old bush happened, and Ippo, yes, arms raised.
That was a fighter.
But perhaps that's a video for another day. Back to Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter's general approach is to keep the peaceful beginning and mid-card mostly intact, then has a tendency to go completely batshit insane for the main event showdown. I can't tell you how many times I was left completely dumbfounded by Takashi's masterful subversion of my own expectations.
Again, because y'all expected one thing and he pushed y'all in a different direction. Y'all went masterful, amazing, stupendous, best ever. Y'all made up the story in your own mind and he went a different way, and then y'all went, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Because it didn't do this thing.
Because it didn't do the thing I expected it to.
Not because what it did do, what it didn't do.
That's ridiculous. What about what it did do? What it did do was do.
Do.
Exactly.
Takashi's masterful subversion of my own expectations. To the point that I really felt like I was being toyed with.
In what way?
Being led down one road only to find myself ending up on an entirely...
In what way?
Dude, you're explaining how you felt, but not why you felt that way.
Or what it was that made you feel like this.
What happened? Wolf?
Different planet. Storylines end abruptly, the landscape of arcs suddenly and dramatically shifts, Characters fall in and out of arcs, alliances change, and even the roles of heroes and villains become so blurred you will genuinely be questioning who is the one doing the right thing.
In what way?
When did you ever question who was doing the right thing? He's gonna go to the old dude and the bomb, and that was the wrong thing. Yes, dude, again, this is impossible.
No, it's possible. This is no.
I'm starting to hate Hunter x Hunter again.
We don't know he's gonna go there. Let's hear his argument or non-argument, or he's just gonna go off to a whole other thing.
Unfortunately, I think this is also the main reason the first couple of episodes can come across as so pedestrian to a lot of people. As at that point, Togashi is still trying to lull the viewer into a false sense of security and familiarity. And it's a shame, because I feel like this undoubtedly causes a certain portion of the audience to drop off before things ever really get moving. Anyway, let's examine the first time that Togashi hits us with a major story swerve. It takes place in the final stage of the Hunter exam, and serves as the third sub-arc in what you could consider the Hunter exam arc.
Holy it's not sub-arcs. Dude,
it is.
I was 10 and 11 knowing what a saga was.
No, it is, though.
The main event showdown, as I called it. It comes as a last step before our heroes will be granted the much-coveted Hunter's license. They're gathered in a small hall and told that they will compete in a small one-on-one fighting tournament. Tournament arcs are pretty commonplace in animes. They offer a simple layout that takes care of the mid-card battle and steadily builds heat for the main event showdown. It also gives a lot of the supporting characters some screen time, which in turn allows the writer to explore new relationships of the show. It's worth noting that while some people absolutely loathe tournament arcs, they're actually one of my favourite kind of arcs in anime. I think a well done one can...
Here's the thing. There have been maybe 4 well done tournament arcs I've ever seen. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Dark Tournament, though, get in there.
I would recommend the tournament in Flame of Recca. It is very good.
We just set up a new series for... Nobody cares.
It's not gonna come out. we barely got time for this.
With a ratio like this, I bet. Holy, what a ratio!
Show off a great range of diverse characters while establishing significant heat for the main event showdown. For 2 great examples of tournament arcs done right, check out the Dark Tournament Saga from Yu Yu Hakusho or any of the World Martial Arts tournaments from the original Dragon Ball manga. So how does Hunter x Hunter change up a tournament arc? All signs up until now have led us to believe that this will be a fairly standard 6 to 8 episode sub-arc, with Gon facing off against Hisoka, or maybe at a stretch Killua in the final round. And
then it just doesn't. No, we're not doing that. But no, we're not doing that. It's fine.
Tubular. Hey, Tindu. Get your little flower wreath from Hawaii. Hey. Surf's up. Kahlua.
They don't even halfway pronounce it like that.
Dude, that's not sub nor dub. They pronounce it like that.
I mean, in fairness, it's a trash name.
But he says Kahlua. His brother nicknames him Kill. So is he just going to call?
He's calling it Hunter x Hunter. He's not a big name guy, it seems.
After that journal,
exactly. Journal. So we're not talking about this.
I think he called Abakio Abacho or something like that.
Yeah, it was bad.
The names are in this series. He mispronounced Abakio, Fugo, not Fugo, Naranja, and
It's fine,
dude. Okay. Here's the thing. People are getting on us when we did the Brilliance of Golden Wind. People were getting on us because it's like, you guys are saying who cares about them showcasing Italy. Of course people care. But people aren't going Kahlua. That's just a legitimate mispronounced name that they say multiple times in the series that you love.
The main character. I think the dub was at least starting out back
This
then.
is terrible.
It's fine.
Spoiler alert, this does not happen at all. What does happen is Hunter x Hunter takes the tournament arc and completely turns it on its head.
Again.
Literally. Oh, God, that was bad. Sorry. What I mean...
Again, it's different. Not that it's good, it's different.
And you know what happened? It wasn't fun.
That is a fact.
I did not have fun with that arc because I wanted to see a bunch of stuff. And they just went, oh, well, this happened, this happened, you're done.
You're promising a bunch of fights and then you do not deliver. And then you turn to the camera and go, please clap.
And the people went, I didn't expect.
And they do.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting there like Team 4-star in One Piece with my arms folded going, why are y'all clapping?
I would have liked to see Killua versus Hisoka. I would have liked to see that.
Kurapika, Hisoka, I would have.
But I guess we just don't get it. Okay.
This would have been a great time to showcase Leorio. Because he doesn't do anything in the whole series.
So I guess we just don't get it.
What I mean by this is rather than the standard winner stays on type of tournaments where the winner travels up the brackets and two winners duke it out in the finals, the winner of a fight is actually removed from the tournament and awarded their hunter's license, and by doing so, passing the hunter exam. This leaves the loser to move up the brackets and so on and so forth until there is one...
You don't even have to win. You just have to prove yourself.
Oh yeah, you're right. After the preliminary exam, Shika didn't win his fight at all. He was the only one that became a Chunin. It went, Neji was too pig-headed. He's not going to make it. Naruto did everything, but he wasn't realizing the situation. He's not going to make it. Sasuke and Gaara, same thing. They're not going to make it.
Shika made it.
Shika made it. Why not Team Mari?
Did they not?
No, she didn't make it. You know what? It was probably because of the sand invasion.
Yeah.
It
was a whole big thing. But anyway, yeah. But no. It was the Hokage that went thumbs up, thumbs down. But the Hokage was Oro in disguise. So they had to go get another Hokage in order for them to go thumbs up, thumbs down. Doesn't matter. That's another different tournament structure. So again, broken down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, One Piece, same. Mm-hmm. Their tournament arc was just a battle royale.
Fairy Tail. Their tournament arc was just whatever we feel like.
Do whatever you feel like.
Whatever we
Whoever
feel like
has the most
at
points.
this moment. Team battle, balloon popping, bikinis, ride on this truck, whatever. That's different. Does that mean that it's good? No.
No, that's the worst tournament arc I've ever seen.
And also, that tournament arc did not finish either. Does that mean it is of quality just because it's different from just go up bracket and then there's Piccolo and Goku at the end? No.
The Dark Tournament was a absolute just structured, you move up the ladder by wins tournament arc, and it is the best tournament arc because of the characters within, because of the story within, because of the fights within, the heart and emotion. Kuwabara fighting 3 dudes with Yusuke and Genkai, and he goes, something's wrong. These guys just speak to me.
Don't just blow them away.
I'll take all your pain. And he opens up his arms and he takes all of their attacks. You know why? Because the doctor knew he couldn't win if he had Kurama and Hiei there, so he had something else attack them off on the side. No, they're going through their own thing. We got our own action in the ring, so we're cutting back between the two actions, and then there's a whole story of the villains.
Normal tournaments, by definition, cannot be good. Point blank, period. Because they're normal. You have to change and subvert in order for it to be of quality. Don't you understand?
The thing is, it seems like the reason people like things like Madoka and Hunter x Hunter, not because they're normal, because they're abnormal. Mm-hmm. And it's simply because of that. they're not looking at the characters really. They're not looking at the story really. How does the power structure work?
No, it's different.
It's different, so it's better.
He keeps going unlike this and shows something in the background. Hunter x Hunter does this.
Okay, he said he was going to talk about Nen later. I hope he explains it. Because why did we spend 4 episodes learning code for them never to use it?
Ultimate loser. This person then fails the Hunter exam and is the only member of the tournament not awarded the Hunter license and has no choice but to wait and try again in a year's time. Now, there's no way in hell I'm spoiling what occurs here, but suffice to say the outcome of the
Why did he switch up his format and just been like, spoilers, whatever? Why you should watch Gold and Win and it's just Requiem in the thumbnail?
That's a good question. I think because Hunter x Hunter was sort of like a maligned one where it had a pretty bad earlier adoption, and then maybe he's just like, this is to get people into Hunter x Hunter as opposed to here is validation as to why.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I think you're exactly right. This is why you should watch Hunter x Hunter. Not this is why you should like the series you just watched.
Tournament, as well as the manner in which it was revealed, completely knocked me on my ass. This was actually the moment that forced me to acknowledge that the show I was experiencing was indeed very, very special, and that my initial impression of it had actually been incredibly misguided. And the fact is, this is the first of many times Togashi does this. Throughout your experience with Hunter x Hunter, you'll be bombarded with all manner of twists and turns as Togashi makes us feel comfortable in a situation before completely decimating our expectations, leaving us gasping for breath as we...
In what way?
And how?
He's just saying he does this.
It's like, oh, he did something completely different. All right, this is going to be more of this. And no, it was different. All right, here we go. Time for more. No, it's way different. And because of that, it's good.
Because it's good.
Okay, I think the problem is I had watched so many series before Hunter x Hunter that I no longer saw those types of things because I had them in all these other series.
But even if I did, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's...
I wouldn't care.
I'd be like, okay, it's just doing that.
I
this is pretty cool. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's subvert, and then
I'm not thinking about
the magical girls is actually dark. What? I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I didn't think about King's Game the way they did their killing games as opposed to Death Parade. And it's like, oh, they did it different, so it's better. No, I looked at it as King's Game, and it was a terrible series, just like I looked at it as Death Parade, and it was a great series. Michigo to Hachin, amazing series. I have no expectations of a mother-daughter dynamic in there. I don't care. I'm just looking at the series as its series. See, you're trying to compare it to all these other things and talking about subverting. And again, where's the deconstruction? But subverting expectations of how shonen usually is. But all shonen act differently from each other. Sure, you're gonna have very samey things. You have very samey things in Hunter x Hunter. But all shonen do something different. Otherwise, why even get into that series? Because of the different powers? Who cares? There's like 4 basketball anime out there. Why would I care about one basketball anime over the next if they all act the same? They don't. They all offer something different. All anime, manga, whatever offers something different. And if it's appealing to you and enough other people, it will continue. And if it's not, it will drop off. Dr. Stone offers something different from Haikyuu.
But Hunter x Hunter offers the most different.
It doesn't, though.
But it does.
Well, you're right.
That's Hunter. That's his argument.
I guess that's why you should watch it.
Toward.
We're not getting to 11:30 in time.
Absolutely not.
No, we might.
No.
It's the next.
He hasn't talked about Nen.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Plot twist. Trust me, this happens a lot. A conflict will be heavily foreshadowed only to go in a complete opposite direction, or, in some cases, not happen at all. And often...
Like what?
Like what?
These major shifts are completely outside the power of God and his friends.
Pause. Going back to Eneru versus Luffy, you look at that and you go, Luffy stomps. He's going to destroy him, kick him off his boat, and then just destroy the boat, and they're just going to be happy. This is the final fight. oh, it's a bit shorter, but whatever. And then it just doesn't happen. But this is just different.
It never feels like Deus Ex Machina thanks to how well Togashi has established the characters and their world. To go into further specifics of this aspect of the show would honestly be to rob you of some of the greatest moments in contemporary anime, but just trust me when I say these are moments that any fan of good fiction deserves to experience.
Oh, Nin.
So, and again,
right
I'm going to have to ask you to bear with me here, but let's talk about one of Hunter x Hunter's most unique aspects, the Nen system. Nen is essentially Hunter x Hunter's version of Ki. You know, like power levels, soul pressure, chakra, anime magic that explains how the characters are able to do so much crazy bullshit. But of course, the Hunter x Hunter Nen system differentiates itself in some subtle but
different alarm, auga.
Able to do so much crazy bullshit. But of course, the Hunter x Hunter Nen system differentiates itself in some subtle but critical ways. Namely that Nen is not a direct gauge of a character's power. In other words, a high Nen level doesn't mean that a character is instantly going to win in battle. Much like they would in, say, Dragon.
Just like a stand.
That's very true. Weaker stands be stronger stands all the time.
Just like devil fruits.
But isn't it? Isn't it just that stronger Nen? Except unless you sub into a worser class than the other class. That class you. But we've never even seen that. We've never seen a manipulator versus, let's say, a emulator or whatever. And it's just like, yeah. And then we've never seen those two.
We've never seen that rock, paper, scissors.
We've never seen that. We've only seen stronger Nen is beating weaker Nen.
How did Gon beat Pito?
By just getting more Nen.
By just getting stronger.
So I don't.
I would have, because they sat down and went, this is rock, paper, scissors. You can spec into this, but it'll be less effective as a person who's already a conjurer and they doing their conjurer stuff.
Manipulators beat conjurers.
We never saw that. And they sat us down and said these things. We barely even point to people and go, they're a manipulator, they're a conjurer, whatever. We barely do that. It's just Nen. What is Knuckle?
Conjurer, I'd assume. But is that better or worse against whatever Gon is?
You're assuming that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, we don't know. It's just Nen is just such a. I do not like Nen at all.
Same.
Much like they would in, say, Dragon Ball Z. If someone has a high power level in Dragon Ball Z, chances are they're going to completely obliterate someone with even a slightly lower power level. Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail, these all operate under the same principle to some degree. And that principle is...
No. Natsu was not stronger than Loxus.
Nope.
0%. Because the next time that we see Loxus, he's fighting a dude that all of Fairy Tail could not fight combined. But he's fighting him by himself. He was not stronger than him in that instance. Natsu is very rarely the strongest person. Not even very rarely. Up until the end. The very, very end, he's not the strongest person. But that's only because he got combined with other Dragon Slayers. So don't just say Natsu when he's just getting destroyed constantly.
But what he's saying is Natsu's power, the power within Natsu, he has more of it than the next person, and that's why he wins.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's what he's saying. If he has more than the next person, that's why he's going to win. No matter what happens. He's got more of it in him, so he beat person. Just like you have more ki, you win. You have more chakra, you win. Chakra, no. If you have more chakra, you don't win.
No, you don't. But
because Naruto had way more chakra than Sasuke, and he got beat. No.
But
and then no.
But what about the villain perspective? If you have more villain energy, shouldn't you automatically win?
What the is villain energy?
Like let's go back to Fairy Tail. The big dragon, he's the final villain, and he's the biggest baddest dragon. He's got like a bunch of dragon powers.
Yep.
he has bigger number than Natsu, but Natsu still wins.
Yep.
But Natsu, in every fight that he fights, if he has bigger number, then he wins, quote unquote.
I see what you're
So
saying.
why does villain with bigger number not automatically win?
So yeah, that doesn't happen there either. Yeah, I got nothing.
Cell bigger number than Gohan, but Gohan still won
because his number got bigger.
He was caught off guard.
What? Cell?
Mm-hmm. At the very end, when he came back.
Nah.
He came back. Gohan was injured.
Mm-hmm. No. I know what you're saying, but I don't know if that's so much that he was caught off guard because Gohan's blast did just become bigger than Cell's.
No, it was Vegeta caught him off guard. Vegeta,
I know.
And then he went, now, hit him.
No, but that's the dub. The dub didn't say that. He said in the manga it's something like unleash all your power, Gohan, because he's just constantly saying, Gohan, you gotta believe in yourself, unleash your power, and then he just yells, unleash it, Gohan.
How you know the manga?
Because I got into an argument with a dude about it.
Anyway, they took advantage of that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Cell was stronger, but Goku saw a moment where he could go unleash the power, and he did. I'm just saying, why does villain with bigger number not automatically equal a win, but hero with
Kid Buu had a bigger number. He didn't win. Vegeta had a bigger number. He didn't win. Yeah, it was.
I don't understand his argument here.
Character is assigned a number, and the higher that number, the more likely that character is to succeed in a fight. This approach to combat in anime is highly problematic, especially in terms of long-term pacing, as the only real way for it to proceed is for the villains to have increasingly higher power levels, until the show eventually reaches a point where...
Yeah, that's the problem with Dragon Ball. Mm-hmm. It just escalates and escalates and escalates and escalates.
That's the problem with Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, we went from a bunch of just, we're punching each other to, okay, here comes Nin, and now we got the God King, Insect Man doing all this extra special
Hunter x Hunter is no different.
It's no different. From when they first get introduced to Nin to Pito, it's 2 arcs. It's no different.
All logic in the fight becomes mute, and the writer runs out of way to express new levels of power, causing things to just kind of plateau and stop making sense. I would point to the enjoyable but flawed Majin Buu arc in DBZ for this. What's worse about this is that the small-scale creativity and cleverness of earlier fights are often just replaced with repetitive and overly drawn-out battles where 2 characters essentially stand opposite each other and launch increasingly large-scale attacks. Another author who cracked this problem back in 1989 was Hirohiko Ariaki of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fame. His solution was, rather than focusing on...
Did he say Ariaki?
Yes, he did. That took me off guard. How does he pronounce Hirohiko but not Araki?
Especially since there's no I after the second A. What's up with him? Legit, what's up? What's up, Wolf? Let's have a discussion, fam.
Our adventure fame. His solution was, rather than focusing on obvious psychic or superhuman powers, such as flight or super strength, Ariaki came up with the idea of stands, ghost-like figures of psychic energy that watch over their users and all possess unique abilities. What's interesting here is that the actual human characters of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure don't really have superhuman abilities. It's their stands that do. The genius of this is that even the most powerful stand user is still just a regular human. And while their stand may be the most unholy, invincible killing machine on Earth, the stand user is still vulnerable to all the danger a regular human would be. It usually only takes 1 or 2 major attacks to put a stand user out of commission, the only exception being our Lord and Saviour Dio Brando. This keeps characters from ever becoming invincible, and thus each fight becomes a lot more about the mind games going on between stand users as opposed to who can punch the hardest. This lets fights stay interesting over the course of a long-term series. We don't need every fight to escalate in scope because essentially we're looking at
Hunter x Hunter. Where are you going with this?
Honestly.
You're going, this is doing this thing. And are you also going to go, Hunter x Hunter does it too? Or better? Or not? What are you bringing up this great power system for? Where are you going with this?
Entirely different approaches to combat. For example, a battle involving Jotaro and his high-power close-range stance Star Platinum is always going to play out totally differently than one involving Kakyoin and his long-range Hierophant Green. The influence of Ariake on Togashi has always been pretty obvious, and it certainly feels like Togashi has taken several cues from JoJo's here, and in doing so, avoids a lot of the problems that come with long-term power level escalation.
So, what did it subvert? If you saw JoJo before, you just see how
no, is JoJo is different, but Hunter x Hunter is also different. So they're both different. So they're both good, and
that arguably kept the later conflicts of Yu Yu Hakusho from being as engaging as the earlier encounter.
Oh, you are a lie.
He's talking about Three Kings.
Okay, Three Kings, understand. You cannot sit there and tell me Chapter Black.
But that's coming right off of Chapter Black, which was all mind stuff. And that's a big punch, dude. But then it was mostly mind stuff. It is widely known that the Three Kings is poopy.
Yes, it's a widely accepted fact.
But you're just going, this bad thing is bad. Boo is bad, y'all. And Hunter x Hunter is different from Boo. So it's better. Compare the bad thing to the good thing, and good thing is good.
Clap, monkeys.
Rather than stands, however, Togashi's solution here is the Nen system, and suffice to say, it works out pretty fantastically. The point of a lot of anime magic systems is to give the writer some structure when it comes to writing fight scenes. It helps them convey to the viewer a rule set, to bring structure to the superpowered chaos. The best ones allow writers to tell us more about the characters and their actions.
Chakra is just more power. What are you talking about, Wolf? Why are you showing this? And not One Piece.
That's my biggest problem with him just showing stuff. You're left to your own conclusion. And I hate that.
While the worst
explain what you mean
can be confusing, inconsistent, or just make no goddamn sense at all. I'm looking at you, Bleach and Sword Art Online. Togashi introduces Nen about 30 episodes into the series, and does so right at the point when things are about to get especially combat heavy. I'm guessing he probably wanted to layer some more depth into the fights, which, don't get me wrong, up until now have still been pretty fantastic. But quite simple. Nen is a complicated enough system that I think it's best I only give you the bullet points here. But Nen is the base level anime magic currency within Hunter x Hunter. But where it deviates from other shows is that the mere possession of Nen doesn't mean anything by itself, it's just potential. Having a whole lot of Nen won't make you a badass, it's how you use it that matters. To get any results from Nen, you need to harness it by training in one of 6 different...
Captain Ginyu, you have a body overflowing with energy, but you cannot use it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So it doesn't matter that you have it, you can't use it. Just like Hunter x Hunter.
Harness it by training in one of 6 different areas. And through these areas you learn to control...
No, you don't. Because the ants didn't.
They just got it, and then they just got a contract. And then you just got your power. Doesn't that seem... There's no training there. You just get a power that you want with rule.
In several possible different ways, such as either manifesting it into weapons, using it to enhance physical abilities, or even create separate sentient entities to fight for you. What I really love about the Nen system is rather than making every character feel like they have to operate under the same set of rules, it makes everyone feel completely different. There's a small amount of overlap, but like for the most part, all the powers and abilities of various characters are rooted in the character's personality. Gon's a fun, playful little guy, and this means his Nen manifests itself in various kind of game-related ways. The main one being Gon's rock, paper, scissors...
No, it didn't manifest itself in that. He chose that.
Yeah, he had a week to decide on an ultimate move, and he went rock, paper, scissors.
He didn't just go, oh, here it is. No, he went, what am I going to do? And he thought about it.
Style attack, in which he forces his opponent to defend against either...
He's also going to mention Hisoka, but he's not going to mention Killua because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Rock, paper, or scissors. And if the opponent guesses wrong, they suffer a massive amount of damage.
Oh, that's a lie. You just lied on his power. You just lied on the power, dude.
In which he forces his opponent to defend against either rock, paper, or scissors. And if the opponent guesses wrong, they suffer a massive amount of damage.
No, that's just wrong.
No, that's not what happens.
He just throws out a lot of energy on rock. If he throws paper, it's an emission or whatever. So it floats away completely independently of his body. And scissors cuts, I think.
He only used it like twice, so I think it just cuts.
Yeah. That means nothing.
It's nothing.
You're just lying on the power. It's not about guessing, oh, I guess scissors. Oh, you blocked it correctly. So now it's done. That's not how it works.
It doesn't get a lot of screen time, but it's a fun and unique little attack and is rooted deep within Gon's character. Other good examples of this include Uvojin, who loves nothing better than a fight and raise all hell. You can tell
Also,
by his
he's just
design
strong.
and dialogue that he values physical strength above all things. So of course he's going to use his Nen to enhance his physical abilities to the point that he's a near unstoppable juggernaut. On the other end of the spectrum we have a character like Melody, who is absolutely not cut out for direct confrontation, and her design lets you know that. And so she chooses to put her Nen into controlling the emotions of those around her. Kurapika is obsessed with capturing and punishing a criminal organization, so her Nen is to manifest chains. Netero, after years of training, develops an invincible karate god-style JoJo stand. There's no end of interesting and weird ways the characters and their abilities tie together. This helps characters feel grounded. There's a certain logic to why they can do the things they do, and turns fights from a rather standard affair to a clash between two major personalities, the outcome of which is always extremely difficult to predict.
Pause.
Here's the thing. If you have, let's say, Pito fight and Kurapika, and then you have Pito fight Gon, and then you have Pito fight Killua, at some point you get used to what Pito can do, and that's the end of it. Mm-hmm. The reason it feels like this is because it's constantly introducing new powers. They get their fight, and then they're out of there. Or they don't get a fight. We never saw Pito fight. Against Gon, she got stomped, and then her death Nen cut off his arm.
You are correct. Never thought about that.
So, I don't...
But yeah, he's just comparing this to Dragon Ball. Because you got Naruto, bunch of different abilities. Fairy Tail, bunch of different abilities. Correct. One Piece, bunch of different abilities. JoJo, bunch of different abilities.
Even Bleach has different weapons and the Bankais and stuff.
Just based off what you told me about the dude that bounces off the rope. That sounds like a different ability. In Ippo.
Yeah.
Bleach
Aishio has a lot of it.
Bleach, they all do different things. What are we... You're just talking about DBZ, but you're not saying that because it breaks down your whole thing. Because if you go, Naruto, well, there's a shadow dude, there's a bug dude.
In some ways, it doesn't even matter how powerful you are. If someone has a Nen ability that directly counters yours, you're most...
When did we ever see this?
When?
Legitimately, Wolf. When did we ever see somebody counter somebody else's Nen ability perfectly? The reason these two fought is because they were two of the strongest. You don't see Gon fighting the king because his Nen isn't as strong.
He's not as strong. King number bigger. Can't win.
Gon and Killua spent a whole arc which is just, we're gonna grow your Nen. Hold that for 3 hours.
Where's the countering? I legit can't think of anything. It's just like, oh, whoops. If the
You're
water
super
dude,
strong, but I got this.
If the water dude fought up against, instead of the smoke dude, it was just a fire dude, that'd be something. But no. But even then,
if it was the smoke dude and he knew he was going to be fighting the smoke dude, he knew what his Nen ability was, and he went, All right, I need an air cannon thing, something that controls the air,
or like the vacuum girl,
something like that. But then the smoke dude's losing, but then his time runs out, so that power stops. He simply took too long. That would be something, but we don't see anybody counter anything just because they're an emitter. So no, Wolf, the concept of them countering each other exists.
That's there. That's interesting, but it never manifests.
What's the execution? Nothing. That's what we're talking about, Wolf.
The smoke dude in Cheetah, he wasn't like, I beat you because you're an emitter and I'm a conjurer. He just outsmarted him.
So what are we talking about? Legitimately.
Legit. I wish you would give an example of perfectly counter.
You are. If someone has an ability that directly counters yours, you're most likely going to be fucked. Which also brings us to our next major
Not an example.
It brings us to our next thing. We're done here, sir. You understand what I'm talking about. Moving on.
That's the concept of Nen. But what about the execution? Do we ever see that come into effect? The answer is no.
If Kite went up against a dude with a really big shield and he's like, I gotta cycle through all my things. And no, nothing. There is what direct counter? I'm thinking of things just like this could have been, just wasn't.
The fights.
Doom.
Watch shonen anime for any length of time and it becomes obvious that the fight sequences serve as the centerpiece to the series. They are the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. And any shonen series wishing to be taken seriously had better have some goddamn amazing fight sequences. Luckily enough then that Hunter x Hunter has some of the most exciting, unpredictable and well animated...
There were only, I would say, 3 good fights in all of Hunter x Hunter. Maybe 4.
And shonen does not equal sign fight because we got Gintama, we got Death Note, we got Scat Dance. Was there a whole lot of fights in what was that show? Maki? No, not Maki. The show that you said had the greatest protag of all time, shonen protag of all time. I can't remember what it was called. You rave about him so much. It's some show.
Slam Dunk?
No, not Slam Dunk. It's a shonen. It's a girl and a dude.
Slam Dunk is shonen.
Yeah, I know.
Girl and a dude.
It's a girl and a dude.
What are you talking about?
You said he's the greatest shonen protag of all time. You should know this.
I think a lot of protags
It's
are
a
awesome.
dude and a girl. I remember that. You told me to watch it. I'm like, eh.
It can't be Higurashi. That's not a shonen.
What was the game with right before Jump Force with all those
J-Stars Victory Versus?
J-Stars?
Oh! You're talking about antagonists! Madaka Box!
Madaka Box! That was it!
Yes, antagonists!
Oh, I knew it started with an M!
Madaka Box.
I knew it started with an M. Does that have a lot of fighting in it?
Misogi!
Why did I do this? Does that have a lot of fighting in it?
Originally, no. It was literally, it was a come to me with your problems when I'm going to solve them. It was very much like Scat Dance. He was just the president of a club, and it was like, whatever problem you have, I will solve for you.
Okay. So my point there was, shonen does not automatically equal fight. And now we're moving on.
It eventually became a fight thing, though. But all sports manga doesn't have a fight. So, that means nothing. Yeah, we're just moving on.
Goodness, man.
that exist within contemporary animation.
Kumagali Masoke!
Shut up! Shut up! It's Detective Conan.
Animated combat sequences that exist.
I don't think so. I think it's a seinen or something like that. I think it's like their weekly Sunday boy as opposed to shonen. It's not Jump at the very least.
Shonen.
Oh, okay. Yep. Shonen. I also think Maho Sensei or Devil Sensei, Devil Detective, whatever that one was called, Negi or something like that. Negima, not Negima, but it's a devil detective show where with a human female assistant. And yeah, I think that's shonen, and they don't fight really. Demon detective. Nero, yep.
Shonen not having fights, that's very subversive. So they must all be really good. Because
that's shonen. Shueisha.
Because that if it doesn't have fighting, then that means that it's subverting the shonen tropes, and that means that it's just good.
Must be. That was a long way to get to that point.
I needed it.
Exist within contemporary animation. This is due in part to the Nen system and in part due to just some really solid writing. Each fighter's personality and will is on display for each fight, and though that may not sound significant, trust me, it is. You see, a lot of the time in shonen...
Jesus.
Stop showing Dragon Ball.
He has to. He
Dragon
can't
Ball,
make his point otherwise.
Dragon Ball is the granddaddy of a shonen, but it's also one of the weakest shonen you will ever watch.
Absolutely.
And that's just.
But it's very easy to pick at because it's one of the first, so it has all the tropes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything with the tropes. It doesn't subvert. It doesn't move past it. It just does it, and then other people build upon that.
Yeah. So it's not very fair when you got 1,000 series
absolutely
after and
not.
Going. Yeah, Dragon Ball is the same.
Absolutely not. But he's going to do it, and he's going to continue to do it because it's very easy to do, because you can't point to a One Piece which came out 10 years after it, or like 5 years after its conclusion, if you want to get technical, and go, it's not doing any of that. One Piece, I love it because it does not have a hard rival. That's one of the best, where you got your Sasuke's, you got your Vegetas. It doesn't have that.
Or Mayada and Ippo.
Sounds significant, trust me, it is. You see, a lot of the time in shonen anime, the fight starts, the fight pauses, the characters engage in melodramatic conversation, the fight continues, more melodrama, until finally the fight concludes, usually with more melodrama. The reason...
Pause. Isn't that what happened with Mirrorwind and the chairman?
Absolutely.
But no, he's not going to mention that. He's not going to mention...
Isn't that what happened with Gon and Pito?
Isn't that what happened with Gon and Bomb Dude, where he blows off his arms? You blew off your arms? Oh, why would you do that? I need to win. And they're talking for a while. This keeps happening over and over. All of Knuckle and Gon was just them talking.
Wasn't the same thing with Kurapika and the big dude from the Phantom Troop?
My goodness. But we're not talking about that.
Didn't the same thing happen with Killua in his fight, whereas Gon fought Knuckle, Killua fought the other dude? Didn't the same thing happen where he takes it off?
Yes, it did.
The exact same thing happened. What are we talking about, Wolf?
What are we talking about?
This is that it's actually quite difficult and costly to insert characters' personalities into a fight scene.
No, it's not.
You understand everything about the Doctor from this fight. Every single thing.
Senor Pink got, like 3 pages of his whole backstory? You go, this changes everything about this character. In 3 pages. He becomes one of the most sympathetic mothers out there. Baby 5 did it in maybe a page.
Beach Boy and Grateful Dead? Their entire thing was during the fight.
Gentle? It's not costly. What are you talking about? Look at Lucci. He could have had I was born and bred. He was like, no, I'm just a piece of shit that loves killing. And that's his whole backstory. And then you just understand, like, oh no, there's nothing to this dude, but he's a piece of shit that loves killing. It's not costly or any kind. It's not hard. It's not difficult. You don't even need to do that. Just Frieza going, I'm not going to fight you with my hands. I'm just going to kick you. And then he punches him and go, why'd you do that? Because he was on the back foot. You don't need a whole protracted backstory. You just need the characters to shine through their personality and their fights and stuff. What the are you talking about?
It's really the crux of JoJo's. The only time these characters get a chance to shine as far as characters, villain-wise, is through the fight. Because they're introduced either right before the fight or during the fight. They fight, they're gone forever. So when are you going to get a chance to shine if not your fight?
I still love Chocolate Disco. Him just coming up going, I'm Chocolate Disco. This is my ability. That's all I'm going to say. I'm like, I like you, Chocolate Disco.
In other words, budgetary constraints. As I'm sure many of you are aware, animation, in particular action scenes, tend to cost studios a lot of time and money. Because of this, anime has built up a virtual money-saving playbook of various cheap tricks to save on production time. You know, like the fist flurry, the moving so fast I can't see them, the giant laser blast, and my personal favourite, the straight up plagiarism. And look, I get it, I've worked in animation for a couple of years now, and animation's fucking hard. These studios have to produce an insane volume of work, and I can't really...
Pause. It comes from the manga. So if the source material is there, it doesn't matter if they're cutting back on the fights or anything.
Yeah, a lot of time the melodrama is in the series, like canonically.
Unless it's Cell and Trunks, where you gotta add it.
Blame them for taking the easy way out from time to time. Except in the case of plagiarism. Come on, dudes. Don't plagiarize. Hunter x Hunter overcomes this in two ways. The first is the budget, or more accurately, how the budget of Hunter x Hunter doesn't make any logistical sense at all. At least not to an outsider like myself. Every single one of Hunter x Hunter's 148 episodes looks beautiful, the animation's consistently tight, the backgrounds are lavishly detailed and decorated, and the show is composited in a way that the separate elements always fit together seamlessly. Generally, with a lot of anime, the first 3 episodes will be where the money goes, but the fact that Hunter x Hunter's budget seems to be spread relatively evenly over the course of its 148 episodes genuinely blows my mind. Never is the budget more apparent than in many of the show's beautifully animated and lavishly detailed fight scenes.
But isn't that the same? I can't see stuff, but it just looks way more pretty.
I don't care.
Wait, what sub arc was this of the video? Because we got past the lid system, then he went to something else. What was the something else?
The fights?
Yeah, the fights. Okay. So I guess that makes sense. It was the fights.
Yeah.
I mean, look at these things. This is practically feature quality.
What am I looking at? What was that? What were they doing?
A bunch of circles and lines. That's all that was.
Beautifully animated.
What am I listening to?
Circles and lines!
I mean, look at these things.
I could do
This
that!
is practically feature quality animation. How Madhouse got the budget to put so much money into what, in the grand scheme of things, is a relatively niche property is completely beyond my understanding of the anime industry. But holy hell, am I glad they did. The second reason the fights stand out might require a little more explanation. But in short, it's Togashi's commitment to the Nen system as well as the personalities of his characters. Each fight, by nature, has to be different, as a lot of the characters in Hunter...
You think Dragon Ball fights are all the same? They have different things within them. They just suck. No shonen does the exact same fights, otherwise it gets boring. Even Ippo, which is just a series of people boxing, has vastly different fights. Different people would bring in different things to the ring. Some people are more move more. Some people are more block and punch. Some people have special techniques.
But he's already put JoJo into our mind.
Yeah.
So just by going, it's different from other... But what about JoJo? You can't go, it's different, but then go, it's the same as this different thing. And who cares if it's different? Is it good? It's consistent? Suck my balls, it's consistent.